First off, let me give you the hot take of the day. Khalil Rountree is going to walk through Pereira. That is the worst matchup I could think of. And let me explain. When we think of who's going to go fight for a title on pay-per-view, we think of other guys that have won a whole bunch of fights on pay-per-view. Well, Khalil was from SmackDown. He came from the other show. He's been fighting on the fight nights and at the Apex and things like this. He still won 6 in a row. He stopped 5 of those sons of guns, and one of them is a former #1 contender, our good friend Lionheart. The better a guy becomes at something, the more he goes out of his way to get away from the fundamentals. The more he's going to put his elbow on his knee and things like this from a wrestling perspective. But Pierre is no different. These great strikers, the better they do, right on day one, you put your chin down and you put your hands up. But when these guys become really good, all of a sudden that chin's out there showing, and your hands are down here at your waist. You're trying to demonstrate for everybody, I'm so good at this, I don't even have to follow the fundamentals. Pereira will give an opportunity. He gives it to every opponent. He will give them the opportunity to hit him. I submit for you, Rountree only needs to hit him once. He does his absolute best work when he's being attacked by a kickboxer. It's not Khalil swarming somebody or taking them down or submitting them. He is a counter fighter, and he loves when you punch or kick at him first. Khalil Rountree not only deserves this fight, and I'll admit, I was surprised. I didn't think this was the direction they were going to go, but I'll tell you a problem. Khalil's going to win this fight.
I think Chill's crazy.
Yeah, he's out of his mind.
He's out of
in
his
a good
mind.
way.
I love Chill to death, but he's a little bit crazy there. I think that it's stylistically, it's a hard fight for both guys. There's about 100% chance of someone's getting knocked out. I don't see Khalil Rountree's he hasn't had one takedown attempt his entire UFC career. How crazy is that? But like, what are the chances? As many times as he's been in there, you've never been in a situation where your feet got all tangled up and you got close and you just kind of grabbed on just to shoot a takedown attempt to fill the space. Like, that's crazy to me that you've never even accidentally shot a takedown. But I don't like how willing Khalil is to give up ground and look to counter. Alex Pereira is a really, really tricky guy, and it seems like letting him walk you down to the fence makes it to where you can only go one way or the other. At the level that Alex Pereira fights at on his feet, taking all those options away from yourself seems like a bad idea. I mean, if you really want me to get deep into the X's and O's, I think that recently Khalil has been giving up some distance and space when he's in there. He wants to counter and he's really fast, but I had a hard time kind of tracking him down and getting a beat on him, but Alex is way better than I am in terms of striking. So I think that if Khalil sits back and lets Pereira walk him down like he let me do, it's going to be tough. I talked to John Wood and they're really excited. And I don't think I'm pulling the curtain back here at all. Like, they're really excited because this is like the type of matchup that they want. They don't want to have to worry about the wrestling. They don't want to have to worry about the jiu-jitsu and fighting off of his back and all that stuff. Like, it seems like both guys are just have this deal. Like, this is just what we're going to do, and we're going to figure it out on our feet.
On paper, I don't know how Rountree can win against him. What he have to do, I just don't see that he won this fight. So, but it's a fight, so everything could happen. But I see that Pereira won this fight in, I don't know, like KO in second round.
Pereira's gonna win that one.
I'm leaning towards the Pereira as well, but I think this is a great fight for both guys. Very dangerous fighter. I mean, Khalil Rountree has got some of the best striking as well. It comes from that Muay Thai background. So it's basically, this is going to be a Muay Thai fight. This is going to be a stand-up battle, toe-to-toe. Who's going to be the better striker? But, obviously I got to lean towards my man, Alex Pereira, just because of his credentials and what he's done in the 185 and the 205 divisions in the UFC. I mean, he's got a left hook, that one-hitter-quitter power. And now Rountree's big and strong, but can he close the gap? Alex Pereira's got the longer reach. He's very calm. He's got very precisely. He's like a sniper out there when it comes to his strikes. It's a very hard fight, but I think it's going to be exciting.
That's a tough one. If I'm Khalil, I would say Russell, but he's got knockout power too. They're both scary power punchers. Pereira, I think, utilizing those calf kicks. But then again, going to a Muay Thai style of Khalil, trying to play the kicking game with Khalil, I don't know if that's going to be the best plan of attack with Pereira, for Pereira to do that with Khalil. I think Khalil just seems a little bit cleaner in his traditional Muay Thai, but I think Pereira probably hits harder. He just has that touch of death. When he places his hand on your chin, guys just go down. It's the most freakishly looking thing. his fight with Jamal Hill, his fight with Sean Strickland, Israel, these guys, he touches them and it's just like magic. They just drop. It's really fascinating. I don't know what his limbs, his bones are made out of. I know Khalil a little bit more than I know Pereira, you know, but I respect both guys. You know, anyone that comes into the sport put in some hard work, especially getting to the top, even after some tough losses, I think is respectable. So with that being said, I respect both these guys' journey, and I just want to see a good fight. It just seems like Alex Pereira is always saving the day, so I hope his paycheck reflects that. And I'm not saying that like they didn't have a main event, but he just fought. For him to be turning around again like this, I'm like, bro, do you know what the word vacation means?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, I'll go with, I mean, I think Pereira is going to win, but I don't foresee it being super outside of the realm of possibility for Khalil to win, just because in that weight class, it's really just one punch that needs to land, and Khalil's very explosive. He's a really athletic guy, and he's mostly a kickboxer, so it might be a little bit closer than what we all think.
I think Khalil has a lot better chance than people are giving him credit for. I'm just very interested to see whether or not he actually tries to take advantage of grappling, because up to this point, you know, other than Jan Blachowicz, there's guys that probably should have wrestled with him and chose not to for whatever reason. They paid the price for it. So I think Khalil Rountree, from the outside looking in, would probably have the more complete skill set because maybe his grappling's a little bit better. But again, it doesn't matter on paper what you have, it's what you do in the cage. So, and then you still got to get within the reach of Pereira and not get knocked out, which is no small feat, as we've come to find out over his UFC career. So I would still lean towards Pereira in that fight, but you know, if Khalil starts wrestling his butt off and maybe gets a clinch and entices him like, oh hey, we're gonna have a Muay Thai match, and then dumps him or gets a takedown, then he's got a good shot. But for right now, it'd be really hard to pick against the champ.
At the end of the day, it would seem as though his path to victory is to knock Pereira out. That's not easy to do. He said the other day to the Schmo, I've never shot for a takedown in my career. I don't intend to do it the night that I'm standing in front of Pereira. Dude, Khalil Rountree Jr., it would seem as though when you watch Pereira, he shouldn't just play with fire, because we've seen Pereira knock out the best strikers in the world. Well, you've seen Alex get hurt by Izzy twice. If he gets hit by Khalil Rountree, that is not good, because Khalil Rountree has power like no one else in the division.
You know, Alex is a big star. Honestly, this is a good matchup for him. This is a really good matchup for him. A guy that hasn't been tested against the type of skill that's at the top of the division. Just physicality. He's like, I think Khalil's like he's like 6 feet tall, 5'11" or something like that. And reach isn't. He's got long arms, but that height advantage for that. And Alex is one of the top 3 tall guys in the division, right? And Khalil's kind of on the shorter side. So there's a physicality difference there, as well as the fact of, I don't think we've ever seen Khalil's ever fought 5 rounds. And we've seen, if you've watched Khalil fight, he gets tired. He gets tired fairly early into the fight. Now, the Dustin Jacoby fight, I watched this fight while I was preparing for Khalil. Khalil lost all 3 rounds of this fight. So the 5-fight win streak for me is, you got to take it with a little bit of grain of salt. I see this as a complete mismatch and one-sided fight for Alex Pereira. The styles match up perfectly for him. Here's one thing that I will say in this fight. It's a fight. At the end of the day, it is a fight. Anything can happen in a fight. Crazy things can happen. On any given day, number 8 can become champion. I'm going to be honest. I see a way where that actually could happen. One thing that I do see that is going for Khalil's a southpaw. Alex, if you have multiple weapons and you have ways to fire off from hands and kicks and combos like that, if you actually have weapons and threats, credible threats from the southpaw stance, Alex struggles with those. He actually struggles with that. If you go back and you watch the second fight in the UFC against Izzy, more so he started to add more strikes and more threats from the southpaw stance. So he added more threats from the southpaw stance as opposed to the first fight where Izzy fought Alex. He would go southpaw, and it kind of froze Alex a little bit, but he didn't really throw anything. There was no really threats, no real anything from there. That was an adjustment he made in the second fight that worked out for him. Khalil's a natural southpaw. He has weapons. He's able to. He does hit hard. He can drop bombs. If he does land, he can put you out. I think if he actually uses his southpaw stance to a degree, I think that he can't cause some problems for Alex. Knockout from Alex, probably early first round, I'd say.